I went first with every comp in the game. I've played so many games since the start of the patch, testing different builds, augments, and anomalies to find the best ones, and this video is the product of everything I've learned. Dozens of games of knowledge packed into this one video, and if you watch till the end, you'll learn not only how to play every comp in the game, but how to go first. Going first with every comp, it took some time. Some comps took me 10 tries before I could go first, and others took no time at all. I won my very first game playing Chembaron Heimerdinger, and all it took were 2 shimmer dupes and this shop on level 8. Yeah, I high rolled out of my mind on this game, but just because I only have 1 rep of this comp on this patch doesn't mean I don't know how to play it. Here's all the basic info: your board, your items, who you want to anomaly. This is stuff you need to know if you want to play the comp, but honestly you don't really care about that, right? What you want to know is how to go first with this comp, so lock in. The enabler for this comp is very simple: Chembaron on stage 2. If your opener is terrible, aim for a 300 cash out to get one of these items. Shimmer Bloom and Pilt Oven 2 are the Giga wins. The stats on Rennie 3 look insane, but Chemtech and Shimmer 1 perform better than most items, so just take them if you see them. On the other hand, if your board is good, play your strongest board every single turn and take any of the cash outs that either give Rennie or a Shimmer dupe. After you're done with stage 3, the game kind of plays itself. On 8, you want to roll until you have Rennie 3 and Heimer 2. Rennie 3 is a super strong tank, and if you're able to hit her and get a Malzahar 2, you have like a 70% chance of winning the game. This comp also doesn't really need any econ augments because you're probably going to be lost streaking, and the extra resources you get from Chembaron are more than enough to hit your board. So just go for triple augment and you have a much higher chance of winning the game. Tristana is another comp I got quite lucky with, and you'll see why in a minute. Trist, more so than other 2-cost reroll comps, is very 1st or 8th. If you farm enough stacks and win enough rounds in the early and mid game, your Trist fires a nuke every time she casts, and it's pretty easy to go first. On the other hand, if you can't farm any stacks in the mid game, you're probably not winning a single round starting stage 4, and you're guaranteed bot 2. So why did I say I got lucky in this game? Just look at the items that my rocks dropped me. I got True Bis Tristana on stage 3. Okay, so why is that lucky? As I said, Tristana is a comp that really needs to win on stage 3, and the best way for her to do that is having 3 items. Having 3 items for Tristana on stage 3 is already really good, but having True Bis is insane. I won my first round on 3-2, and I didn't lose a single round after that. Unfortunately, I didn't check Tristana's AD at the end of the game, but just look at these balls, man. They are... Anyways, the win con is simple, but how do we actually win rounds in the early game? Well, item augments and aggressive rolling. Now, not everyone can high roll their items like me, so I recommend taking at least 1 item augment every Tristana game to ensure your Tristana has 3 items on stage 3. Even if the items aren't her bis, just slam them and then move them to Corki later. As for aggressive rolling, on 3-2, I'm sending it until I have Tristana 2 and an upgraded frontline. I have a confession. The title is clickbait. I'm sorry. It's just that the title "I won with every comp" sounds so much better than "I won with every comp," except for the ones that I tried really hard to win with and I couldn't. Now, I'm a big believer in Cass Reroll. I made TikToks about it, tweeted about it, I talk about it a ton in my Discord, link in the bio, but the sad truth is I've never actually won with Cass Reroll. I've played so many games, and honestly, it's hard to even find a spot where I want to play Cass Reroll. That being said, Setsuko has played this comp a ton, and he's a demon at it. I've meticulously analyzed those games, and this is what I found. Hit 6 Dominator. If you're not playing 6 Dom, you might as well FF the game. The difference between 6 Dom and 4 Dom is 2 whole placements, and every game I watch Setsuko play this comp, he hits Mordekaiser on 7. I don't get it. Where is my... So what does that mean for this part of the guide? I'm just gonna skip it. Now, if you have a good spot for Cass Reroll and you play it, please let me know how that goes for you. I would love to hear about it in the comments below, but I just do not think I'm qualified to speak on the comp. Silco is back. He was a pretty good comp last patch from a good spot, and with all the buffs, Silco is a pretty reliable comp to top 4 with from any AP opener. But who cares about top 4ing? How do you win with Silco? In my opinion, there are 3 ways. The first way is really obvious: go 9 and hit Mord 2. If you're able to completely cap out a Dominator's board, it is incredibly strong. Mord 2, LeBlanc 2, hit those, you have like 80% win rate. The second way is having Giga combat augments like Pumping Up, Mana Flow, and Jeweled Lotus. If you have really strong combat augments, you don't need to upgrade your legendaries in order to win the game, but generally you're only going to be winning lobbies that are relatively weak. The final way, and how I did it, is hitting 7 Black Rose. To be fair, I think I would have won this game even if I didn't hit 7 black rows, but I don't think my word is enough to convince you, so we'll just move on to Sorks. The B patch just reverted the nerfs to Sorks, which is why I'm pretty proud to say I won with Sorks before the B patch. Yeah, I'm pretty good at TFT, okay? I've talked about Sorks so many times. The TLDR of the comp is that it's a LeBlanc check. If you want to win games with Sorks, I mean, even if you want to top 4 with Sorks, you must hit LeBlanc. So how do we find LeBlanc? The first is tempo, slide rolling on level 8, and then going straight to 9 for LeBlanc. This way is very consistent, but you can't do it every game if you don't have a good opener. The second way is what the players in my lobby seem to do every single game, just hit LeBlanc on 8. And how did I win my game with Sorks? I did both. I played quality over quantity into a Giga Streak, and then I hit LeBlanc on 8. Nice. I mean, honestly, this comp is pretty similar to Silco. You can win off of 7 black rows, you can win off of Giga Combat Augments, or hitting your upgraded 5 cost, in this case, LeBlanc. I mean, honestly, that's every single level 8 comp, so don't be too surprised when I tell you the win cons for our next comp, Twitch. Another comp that got changed in the B patch, Sniper actually got hit pretty hard, so this comp isn't as good as it was, but it's still a great comp to default to if you have an 80 carry opener. Twitch. Ah! Sorry, I'm getting angry even thinking about that word. Now, if you're playing Twitch raw, you're probably not winning the game. So the first thing you're gonna wanna look for in order to play Twitch are emblems. Experiment is a bit better than Bruiser, but I managed to win my Twitch game with Bruiser. I mean, it was 2 Bruiser emblems and 2 Sniper emblems. So, kind of a fake game, right? But, I mean, a win is a win. Now, don't get me wrong. If you don't have an Experiment or a Bruiser emblem, it's still completely fine to play Twitch. Now, if you're playing the Bruiser variant, unless the lobby is super weak, you're probably playing for top 2 at best. On the other hand, if you have an Experiment emblem, it's very easy to play for first. First of all, the Experiment bonus is just really good. They've nerfed this so many times and it's still broken. The second reason is you can drop Zyra for a legendary or a 6 cost, so you don't need to play a worthless 1 cost unit on your board. And the final reason is Warwick. Warwick 1 is already stronger than Mundo 2 as your main tank, and the Experiment bonus is broken, and because you have the emblem, you get an additional Warwick, so if you have an Experiment +1, I would definitely try to play for the win. If you don't have the emblems though, there is another way you can win the game, and that's with Golemify. If we still had augment stats, you would probably see Golemify have a 30% win rate in Challenger Plus. This augment is broken. If you have any amount of econ, just take it. And if you do take it, play 4 snipers instead of the traditional Experiment board. The Golem is enough of a tank, and 4 snipers are still really strong even after the nerf. Oh, and you can also just hit Caitlyn too, and if she snipes the enemy carry every single time, you can scam rounds and you can play for a win like that. Rebels. All level 8 comps are actually the same. If you want to win with Rebels, you need Jinx too. Honestly, I don't even think you need the Rebel emblem. I'm a believer in raw Rebels. Some games, you build Shojin and Ginsus, you natural the Rebel units, and you know, that's the easiest thing that you can play. The problem with Rebels is you aren't stable on 8 unless you hit both Zoe and Nilawi 2, or you hit a lucky Jinx. So even though Rebels has a similar cap, if not higher than the other comps I've talked about in this section, the floor is a bit lower. Other than Jinx, I found that certain augments can enable your win. Calculated enhancement is good because your units will nuke their board during the Rebel stun, and a movable object is good because it guarantees your Jinx always gets her 3rd cast. And of course, the last win con, the way that Panny Andrew obviously got his dub with Rebels, 10 Rebels. I'm a beast. Zeri got hit hard in the B patch. I still think it's a pretty consistent comp if you want to top 4, but if you want to win games with Zeri, you either have to high roll your unit and go level 9, or you need anger issues. I'm pretty sure Watchers are still the highest cap because Scar 3 is so broken, but if you natural a ton of Sentinels in the early game, you're probably just going to play that front line instead. Before the B patch, I was telling everybody that they were playing Zeri wrong. Most players in lower elo are playing 6 Watcher 2 snipers instead of 4 Watcher 4 snipers, which performed a lot better in the stats. After the B patch, 6 Watcher absolutely gaps 4 Watcher, so don't get tricked. So how did I get my win with Zeri? I didn't! Out of all the games that I played, there were only 7 times where I had a Zeri spot, and in 6 out of 7 of those games, somebody else was contesting Zeri and their spot was much better than mine. Now, I did play most of these games before the B patch, and Zeri was the only comp in the S tier of TFT Academy, so that might have had something to do with why I was contested so much. The one game I actually did play Zeri though, I got scammed. There's just some guy with 5 family, and I mean, you can't beat 5 family with Zeri unless you're like level 10 and have everything, so. The last comp in the A tier, maybe I'll name it A for Alabama, I don't know, family. Even after the Draven nerfs, this comp still seems pretty good at top 4ing. If you want to win, you really do need the family spat, but you'll still probably get out-capped unless you have a Giga Streak early game and you hit your 3 stars early. And you do need to hit your 3 stars early, okay? It's not like before where you could just hit 3-star Violet and then start pushing levels for Pit. Now, Draven is a real carry, Annie is a real carry, even Darius and Vander can be great tanks, so just go for all of them if you can. For augments, you want items in combat. Nobody's taking an econ augment for 1-cost reroll. Oh, and even though I don't endorse this in real life, anger issues are quite good in this family, so if you see that augment, click it. So how did I win my family game? Well, Mordog helped me. On 2-1, I take Pan Bench and I decide to hard force family. Now, if you know anything about TFT, you probably know that you shouldn't contest Pan Bench. You never know if their bench is gonna be super lucky and you're just never gonna find your units. So imagine my surprise when I'm doing some scouting and I realize some other dude has Violet 3. Eventually, I do completely 3-star my board, but I've already lost a ton of HP because I'm not able to hit earlier. And then come the stage 5 carousel, I'm rewarded. I'm lower picked than the other family player because I've been getting donkeyed the entire game, and my reward for it is a family emblem. The lobby wasn't that strong, so I ended up winning out. The moral of the story is you should never contest Pan Bench. And if you contest me, then Pan's about to put you on that bench. Bars! The first comp I talked about in this video was Rennie Heimer from the Chembaron opener. Smeech is just another one of the options you can take. Unlike the visionary route when you're playing Smeech, you really want to go for as high of a cash out as you can. This comp can start winning out the moment you hit a Smeech 3, and if you're lucky enough to get the Chainblade, then it's almost a guaranteed first. That being said, if you see one of these cash outs that give you Smeech or the dupes, and you have the opportunity to start winning rounds, then you should probably just take those and preserve your HP. Because of the way you play your early and mid game, you're probably going to be low HP starting stage 4. So I like to roll aggressively for Smeech 3 on stage 4 as opposed to waiting until stage 5. Depending on your econ and the number of dupes you have, you're expected to hit on 4-5. I played this comp twice from a Chembaron opener. I had great spots for it, but I have yet to win. I don't know if this loot explosion augment is bugged or just terrible. When I watch Setsuko play, he hits Jinx from an orb on level 7, and I barely get any drops when I play it. I don't get it. But both of the times I played it, I went second. I had to face some egregious high rollers, and I've yet to get another Chembaron spot, so 2 seconds is the best I got. After watching that dish soap clip, you might not want to play this comp anymore, but I promise it's one of the best in the game. So when can you play it? I've said it again and again. You need a range +1 artifact on your Nocturne, or an incredibly strong econ augment like Too Much Value or Patience. 3-cost reroll comps are really awkward to play right now, so you need an enabler. The only other spot I can see you playing it from is if you're 8+ win streak and you natural your units on stage 3, then on 4-1 you just roll for upgrades, sack HP, then on 5-2 or 5-3 you hit your upgrades and you can win the game. Because the conditions for this comp are so rare, I've only played Quickstrikers Reroll 1 time. I got Fishbone, so I hard forced Nocturne, and unfortunately I went second to the Vander hero augment. Honestly, I should have included a little section for the hero augments. Right now, all the hero augments are really good. If you have like 1 or 2 copies of the unit and the slammable item, I would almost always click it. It's pretty much a guaranteed top 4. Enforcers. They're the only 4-cost comp I put in my S tier because I believe they have the highest cap in the entire game. Again, the win cons for this comp are the same as every other level 8 comp. Enforcer +1 is almost mandatory if you want to win the game, but 6 Enforcer can easily top 3. Good combat augments are going to enable your win, especially in the late game, and if you hit Caitlyn 2, even with 6 Enforcers, you have a 50% chance to win the game. And despite everything I've just said, I have yet to win a game with Enforcers. I played 5 games of it and my scores are 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. I mean, honestly, is it even my fault? Like, look at my board versus this family board. Like, how did I lose? I don't get it. Finally, the strongest comp in the game. Chembaron. Honestly, did you expect anything else? With the buffs Chembaron got in the last patch, there are 2 ways to cash out 500. The first way requires like 3 miracles in a row. You need to start the game with 3 Chembaron, then have 4 Chembaron on 2-5, and hit a Silco on 3-5. If you don't find the Silco, you need to 12 loss, and if you're taking traditional Chembaron losses, you're probably going to be out of the game before you're able to cash out 500. If you find the Silco, you'll cash out 500 on 4-2, and from there, it's an easy game. The second way to cash out 500, and the less stressful way, is just to get an HP augment. Undercity, Tiniest Titans, Titanic Titans. Take one of these, play Chembaron. You can even get griefed and you can still cash out a 500. Out of the two options, how do you think I cashed out my Chembaron? Yeah, okay, it was the first way. I started the game with 3 Chem, then I found a Smeech on the stage 2 carousel. On the stage 3 carousel, I thought I was about to get my Silco griefed, but he took the other guy for some reason, and I instantly won the game from there. If you enjoyed this type of video, let me know in the comments and subscribe, because I'm going to be doing it for every single patch.